Hi guys, it's Mrs. Dahl
and Mrs. Hooven, and we're back to talk about another step in the four-square method.
If you remember, we were at 4 squared plus 3, and now we are going to add the C. So we're at 4 squared plus 3 plus C. So let's find out what that C means.
All right, here we go. All right, the C stands for connecting, and we mean connecting words. So let's think about what they are. They are puzzle pieces. Think about a puzzle piece, how they connect. The connecting words connect your thoughts and your ideas together.
Just like puzzle pieces, as they connect together, you can kind of imagine the puzzle piece like this is showing us here, right? So these little pieces here are kind of going to, in a puzzle, hook everything together. And that's what our connecting words do. They hook our ideas together.
Yeah.
So makes it pretty important because as you can see here, right here, we've got connecting words are the pieces that hold an essay together. And I like that because sometimes as a reader, we can get lost with our author if they don't sort of connect it all together with these pieces.
And these words will just help our readers kind of read through our essay a little more easily. So how do we select them? Well, that's the really great part. It's going to be so easy for you to select the right connecting word because they're color-coded, and you're going to be color-coding that in your lab book. So let's take a look at some of our choices here. All right, you would have added this page to your lab book, except your page doesn't have color. So what we want you to do is to pause the tape and go ahead and use a pencil or a crayon or something, marker, and outline just like in the picture that's shown here. So,
and if you're like me, you might even color the puzzle pieces, but only if you have time, because I like to color.
That's right. And then we're going to tell you about those puzzle pieces in just a minute.
All right, so we're back. And what we really like about these connecting words and this poster of sorts is the color coding. So you can see in our green box, in which I think stoplight. Green means go. So that's going to match with box number 2, which is our first body paragraph. That's going to turn into that. So if you just simply pick from that list, that's going to get you a good start. That's going to sound kind of professional, grown up a little bit, and talk to your reader and get them connecting. Then you've got your yellow squares. That's squares 3 and 4.
So, of course, you're going to start with square number 2, and then you're going to move over to square 3, and then square 4.
And notice those lists are the same. That's because they're both yellow. They're in the middle. So you can connect. You can use similar connecting words. But remember, we don't want any repeats in our over big 4 square. We've talked about that before. So if you choose second, then you might want to choose third for the next box.
Exactly. So, of course, you're not going to want to do second and second. That just wouldn't even make sense. So.
Yep. And then our final one, we've got the red for stop. It's going to be our conclusion. It's that wrap-up sentence, but that's going to turn into a full paragraph conclusion of our essay later. So we like the color coding. It's really helpful. These lists are not complete. There's lots of other connecting words you could add to each one, but it is a great place to start.
Absolutely. And as you get more familiar with the 4 square process, you can come up with your own, but this is a perfect way. It's a no-fail way to start.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take a look at what this might look like. Take a look at our where we left off last time. This was our 4 square plus 3. Remember we had the 3 details that we had added. So we started off with our thesis. My favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs. And then we said my favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's easy. And remember how we read that whole paragraph as we added those details. And then we went on to the 3rd paragraph, the 4th paragraph, and finally that wrap-up paragraph. It was all great, but we didn't have any transition words. So now we're going to add those transition or connecting words. So let's take a look at what we've selected for those. First of all, we start with that green. Remember, like Mrs. Dahl said, the green stoplight. So we start with the green light, it's go, and it's our 2nd paragraph. We just chose the word first.
Yep. Then we've got our 2 yellow ones, so they chose, we've got also to connect you in, so we're going to say also it's fun to eat. And third, we have it's for our 3rd paragraph. Then our final one is in red, so you can see my favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's easy to make, fun to eat, and delicious. So this pretty easy step, the 4 squared plus 3 plus C, is really, the C is just picking your 4 connecting words you want to use. So let's see it taken off of the 4 squared. Let's hear it and see it.
Let's add those connecting words. All right, here we go. My favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs. First, My favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's easy. You simply roll up the meat, then throw it in the pot and pour on the store-bought sauce. Also, my favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's fun to eat. I like to twirl it on my fork. It's fun to slurp. I always splatter the sauce. Third, my favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's delicious. I like the taste of tomatoes. The Italian spices are great. The meat is very filling. So you can see my favorite meal is spaghetti and meatballs because it's easy, fun to eat, and delicious.
So you can see we're really starting to come together and sound like an essay. It's all starting to be organized, it's got detail, and then it's just growing. And it's growing quickly,
And
actually.
those connecting words really, really helped, I think. It made it flow together so much nicer. Each paragraph began to transition to the next one.
And you know what I want to point out, Mrs. Hooven, that I've noticed? After each of my connecting words, there's a
Hey,
comma
that's a good point.
right there.
You are so right.
And so that is good for us because obviously under our conventions, we need to make sure that we're using commas properly. If you use a connecting word, oftentimes it's going to be followed by a comma.
That's right.
And then
Good
the rest
point.
of your sentence will come after it. So it's kind of a great way to learn how to use commas.
That's going to be great. And now you guys are going to get a chance to try some of this on your own. So you have a sheet,
That you picked up, pages 32 and 33.
and you are going to choose. You can see that there are 4 different foursquares. One of them is computers are a great invention. That's the thesis statement or the claim that is made. And then there are a few others. There's one that is everyone should participate in a sport.
And then just say no to drugs. And then we have the other one. My home state is the best in the U.S.
So we just want you to choose one of these, right, Mrs. Dahl?
Yep, just one.
Just one, but we want you to complete the foursquare, okay? All you have to do is fill in the grid for the one that you have chosen. You are going to give, for example, if you chose my home state is the best in the U.S., you would choose 3 different reasons. 3 different reasons why your home state is the best in the U.S., and then you'd have that wrap-up sentence in box number 5 at the end. You've got to have your details because we've already talked about how the 3 details for each one of the paragraphs. And then for this step, we want to make sure we include the connecting words. So all you'll have to do is choose from the list that you color-coded in your lab books and choose an appropriate connecting word or puzzle piece. When you're done, one of these is going to be filled out.
Yep, that's it.
And we will see you in class to do the rest of this assignment.
See you later.